can remember in the past living here. Bristol is one of the most, together with black and white, the most closest community with each other.
If you're a black person in tune with your heritage, and you've come from, I'm talking about a black person coming from the, whose parents possibly came over from the Caribbean, and they know that they've got slavery in their background, and then you walk through the centre of Bristol and you see the Colston Hall, and you see certain statues of people that are still got a statue, so they're so say revered by the people. That might make you feel really pissed off.
What, you think we all forgot shackles and collars in Brist? Cause you got niggas down the docks and some follow the Brits, but they don't want to touch my fist without no dollars in it, and they don't want to see the twist, let alone following it. I call it harbouring the poison, now they're swallowing it, cause if you're not gonna bring the noise, you have to wallow in it. Yeah.
It's quite a capitalist city. It's quite money orientated, and I think what comes with that is a bit of a cold side. So that's sort of the vibe I get from it, really. You know? Don't get me wrong, there are nice people, but at the same time, I think the predominant sort of atmosphere is quite capitalist, really.
So you got like glamorous sides and then not so glamorous.
And then not so glamorous sides, yeah.
So what would be the non-glamorous sides?
Well, clearly like places like, Easton, and the immediate places like St Paul's and Easton and stuff. Obviously something's gone wrong there. They're turned into ghettos and they're right next to the main city centre. So, and obviously glamorous side, Clifton. You've got the other side, flip side to it basically, on the other side of the city centre.
This used to be a posh area, but then obviously, they wanted to put us, how can I say it, without sounding really bad. Oh, fuck it. They just stuck all the poor people and people that didn't really have much into one area, which was St Paul's. So it got run down because there was no money put into it. It was neglected, do you get what I'm saying? And the rest of the other side of town, Clifton and all that lot was still being looked after. But St Paul's just got run down because it just got, all the ethnic minorities or the poor people, just put them in one area. And they never really looked after it. There wasn't much put into the area and it got run down. And then obviously when you've got an area with a lot of poor people and a lot of people that haven't got much, music's kind of a savior to some people because it's kind of a focus.
So yeah, I think Bristol, the world I've grown up and the people that I've grew up with on our journeys of being DJs, producers, lovers of music, artists, dancers, whatever their format of music thing is, I haven't seen too many that have come from really good backgrounds. They've come from humble backgrounds, you know what I mean, and just worked hard. And sometimes coming from a humble background isn't a bad thing. If you ain't got no money, well, you can't be going downtown and getting pissed at your face and taking loads of drugs and all that stuff. You got to go out and earn your money, and hopefully you do it in a positive way, because I know a lot of people that have done it in a negative way, but every man goes on their path, you know what I mean. Luckily mine was on a positive way for me, and mine is music, and I assume the other artists that we've been talking about, they come to that road where, okay, I'm going to go here, but I'm sure they can tell you some people they know that have taken that road, and they're either not on this planet or they're doing a 20 stretch for madness, you know what I mean. But that's just how life is.
Can't say because someone grew up somewhere that they struggled or not. There's all sorts of things that happen in life that and then again, I have to always bring it up because it's what I like and dislike about Bristol is close. The big town you know, the big town spread of types of people in the very small town mentality. Everyone knows everyone's business, and everyone knows someone from one other borough, and music helps gel that together as well, because there's no boundaries in class or race when it comes to putting out a hot tune. Everyone wants to do it, and they don't mind who they work with. If someone's got beats or someone's got lyrics, I'll go, you know, anyone will travel to any side of town for that. So that, and then that brings the minds together, and we can all be one and just get over all the bullshit, you know, straight.
Everyone's like on it. It's like, I couldn't believe how big it is, and all over Europe. It's like blown up all of a sudden.
How I describe it and how I always see people hearing it is dark, moody, slow-paced, and often I've heard, you know, people reference that to life in Bristol and you know, the slower pace and whatever. I mean, perhaps that's some London journalist who seems to think that Bristol's got a slower pace of life than London, or look at all them down in the countryside, whatever.
I don't know if it's me or whatever, but if you hear something that is so distinctively Bristol, you kind of know if you're from Bristol or you're in tune to that Bristol sound or sounds, you know what I mean?
It's fair to say that there is a strong independent music scene in Bristol, but to say that there is a specific sounds linked to that, I think is a generalisation.
Well, basically, when I moved to Bristol and I started making hip hop and stuff, it definitely came out quite dark, and I can only put that down to my surroundings and, you know, the atmosphere in Bristol.
It's reflective on the society that everyone lives in, you know. When people write music, it's down to how they're feeling, how they're viewing the world. I think that has a big effect.
Like, I see all corners, do you get what I'm saying? Like, you know, obviously there is a dark side of the, you know, the moody side from Bristol that you get, but I see the full picture, because I'm around, you know, I see the light, you know, you get some light reggae, you get soul, you get ska, you get uplifting music. It's just that a lot of people don't get to see that side, do you get what I'm saying? So for me, living in St Paul's, because I teach in St Paul's, to me, I don't just see it as one side, there's loads, do you get what I'm saying?
When you talk about Bristol sound system, it's reggae orientated music. First of all, you gotta understand that. It's reggae orientated music, alright? It's right, Bunny Size, Tricky, Daddy G, 3D, they all come from that environment. They used to play that kind of music, reggae orientated music, in the times of like the late 80s and early 90s. It's just that they chose to, they had experience of a sound system, they got the experience and know how it runs, but now they've chose to kind of diverse their music. And because the music what they play nowadays is completely different to reggae music, but they still use like reggae samples from Horace Andy and that kind of generation. But with Massive Attack, Tricky and Die and all of yes, we do come from sound systems, so all come from that. But now their music now has evolved from that to something else.